Welcome, welcome. Very excited tonight. If
Hi
you can hear
everyone.
me, if you can hear me loud and clear, just type in the chat G to G, good to go. Welcome our street smart investors. Your host tonight is myself, Charmaine Adam. I am the head property coach here at Positive Property. Some of you may have already met me and have worked with me. And I have the lovely Michelle as well, who is one of our accountability coaches at Positive Property. And it's really good to have an accountability coach. And this really ties into tonight's session about mindset, because it's really great to have someone in your corner that's there to support you and keep you accountable to your best results. And our program is all about a do it with you. So you keep us accountable, we keep you accountable, and together the sky's the limit. And tonight's session is all about mindset, because it's really, really important to understand how our mindset actually plays into our property investing and being able to be a successful investor. So many people think that mindset is probably the backseat driver as long as you've got the strategy. But I'm here to tell you it's really your mindset, because I would say when it comes to property investing, it's about 90% mindset and it's only 10% strategy. And the reason I say 10% strategy is because when you've got a tried, tested, proven strategy that works time and time again, which we do, then the gap between success is that 90%, that mindset, that ability to be able to take action, that ability to ask questions when you don't know something, the ability to find or fall in love with the process and find fun ways to be able to learn and to grow, and to also recognize that as part of your mindset, your community, the broader people around you. And this is why Positive Property and our groups here is all here about the community as well, because when you've got a strong community of like-minded investors that are interested in the same things that you're interested in, then it makes it more fun, but you've got that support. Because there is a saying, you are the five people that you spend the most time with. So if you're hanging out here on a Thursday in the Facebook group, or if you're hanging out with us as our private members in our SHERPs, then that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting and really help support you on your journey to success. So our first, what I'd like to start off with is, let's just share a win for the week, because when it comes to mindset, it's also about the ability to acknowledge great achievements that we've done through the week. And sometimes we get so busy, we forget to celebrate ourselves, even if it's the small things. It could be property related, it could be personally related. But every week, if you take a bit of time once a week, just to think about the things that you're grateful for, or just to think about the wins that you've had for the week, that positivity and that energy, it carries over, it carries forward. And we want to create that synergy, that energy that is paying it forward all the time. So I think we've got a few messages in the chat. Let's have a
Yeah.
look. What have we got here?
Tanya's paid her deposit for kombucha. Woohoo, Tanya.
That is super exciting. I am
Yeah.
so blessed. Thank you so much. Melanie has finally completed her financial fact finder in preparation for her appointment with Finance and Nadine. Fantastic. John, reduce your property loans by 0.1%. Look, it sounds small, but I know that when it comes to multiple loans and properties, that 0.1% can go a long way. So thank you so much for sharing. That's super excited. He got your first contract today to review for tomorrow, hopefully. Fantastic. Look, this is exciting.
Amazing.
And look,
So
doesn't it
good.
feel good to actually witness everybody's wins and the different stages they're at in their positive property journey?
Uh,
We just paid a 10-year membership. Well done. Looking forward to
Amazing.
moving forward with Russell and Allison.
But
That's
signed the first contract last week, Greg and Suzanne. Amazing. So
exciting.
good.
I love it. I love it, because positivity breeds positivity. And it really helps you when you are feeling challenged at times, because when you think of things positive, it can help open that mind up so that we can start to find the solutions for things that we might be challenged by as well. Because one thing that I share with all of my members, and Christina does as well, as a property investor, you all think that property investing is like this straight line to success. And in an ideal world, I do meditate on this to be a straight line. But as many of you probably know, it's a little bit like this. You know, it starts to go straight and there's a little loophole that takes you on a bit of a journey here, and then you're back over here and finding solutions and resolutions. But eventually you do make it to the outcome, which is a settled investment property.
Amazing. Just
Miss
signed for
C,
that 10-year black belt also.
fantastic. This is super exciting. It's lovely to meet some of our new members. And look, the fun
Um,
thing about the squiggle is that you're not alone. You get to be a part of that little squiggly path to property investing with a team of experts and a team of individuals that really care about you and really want to support you to succeed. So fantastic.
and that's a bit of a mindset hack too, is like, that commitment, I guess, like for that 10-year program as well. So like we're in it for the long haul, we're in it, like we've got the long-term goal. So that's a bit of a mindset hack in itself.
Love it. I love it. So let's delve in a bit more to mindset, because this is really important as an investor to really, I suppose, understand your mind and work in ways that can help support your mind so you can really achieve your goals. And we're bringing this back to property investing because that's what we're all passionate about. But really, everything we're sharing with you tonight can be applied in any aspect of your life when it comes to your health, your family, hobbies or projects, like anything that you're applying or wanting to achieve. Your mindset is a very important piece to your success. So, Michelle, tell us a bit more about the role of mindset and positive property, and speak to that identity shift, because I think that's a really important one.
Yeah, well, I think step one is, to take on that identity that you are a successful property investor. It doesn't matter like where you come from, but to just embody that persona, I guess, and act as if you are that, because from that place, you'll make different decisions. And I think like if you can really embody that, that will, I guess, make you a lot more like confident in your decisions as well. And just knowing that, yes, I am successful, I'm going to be successful, and just having that in your mind as your kind of go-to mindset, that will drive you towards success. And as I said, shapes your investment decisions and the outcomes that you will get.
Absolutely. The most important thing is training the little monkey that lives in our heads sometimes. You know, those little thoughts when you're about to do something and the little thought goes, don't do that, or don't do that, or, all the names that, you trip over and you call yourself anything but a name of love. They're the kind of thoughts that you want to retrain the monkey brain. And it does come back to that identity, recognizing that you already are an investor. And I love the way that you frame that, Michelle, because I share that with investors all the time. We've got members saying, when I get successful, it's like, no, claim it now. Because the power of suggestion, the power of your subconscious and your unconscious minds, when you start to train the subconscious mind and align with what you're consciously choosing, you definitely become like a force of success. And everything that you touch, everything you put action to starts to ripple out, and it starts to get easier and easier, especially when you've got those around you supporting you and helping you to fill in those little gaps. And look, mindset as a driver of success really does shape the way that you think, and also, like Michelle said, your decisions when it comes to your outcomes. And look, the long-term vision, I love that. Step two, it's about looking at the big picture. Don't sell yourself short. Like, always think of the big picture in mind. Like, my driving force for me as an investor, and it is my children. I want to create a dynasty for my children. I want my children to have the experiences and the opportunities in life with the ease and grace behind it. And so for me, when I'm having those days where I'm like, what am I doing? Or this is too hard, I just come back and think to myself, what is this for? Like, what is my bigger why? Because when you have a big why, it's so much easier to come back to it when you start going off track. So really start to think about, what is your motivator? What is your why? What is your long-term vision? Because that is a very important piece to be able to fill in the little steps to get you from here to here. And patience, it is a patient game. Our brains are wired to press a button and get that instant gratification. We've got drive-through restaurants, we've got, takeaway. Everything is gratification. You go to the shops, you buy something, you get it in your hot little hand straight away, and it gives those dopamine hits because it's the gratification. But with property investing, it is a little bit more of a strategy, and it's not the instant, I'm going to buy a property and then poof, it's got it in your hot little hands. There is a process, there are steps that need to be taken. So it's really important that we encompass that patience, because the patience and the persistence is what's going to get you to your outcome. Anything you want to add to that, Michelle?
I think just that growth mindset, like not having, like not thinking, oh, this has happened. Oh no, like that black and white thinking. It's like thinking outside the square, thinking of solutions, and just having that real growth mindset that allows you to move forward rather than getting stuck in a certain place. I think that's really important, to be able to keep taking steps to move forward, even if challenges arise.
Yeah, and I've certainly had mine. I think many of you may already know this, but a little story to help me overcome that. My first investment property, we signed the documents, we're getting ready to take action, and then we find out that we had bad credit. And in that moment, I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose the property. I've only got a certain period of time before I have to go unconditional. I need my loans. I need my deposit. And also there was a part of me at that time as well that I was a little bit ashamed. Like, I didn't want to tell anyone about it. I was trying to work it out all on my own. And I tried working out on my own. I'm ringing up different, credit companies. And they're like, oh, it takes, at least 3 months before we can clear it off your credit, because obviously there are support and assistance out there. And then I had to really come back to my own persistence and the importance for me to have this investment property for myself and for my family. And I reached out to my coach, and that was Belinda at the time, and she's like, oh, it's all right, Charmaine. She goes, we have so many members that have gone through this. She's like, here's a number for a lawyer. Get onto your lawyer. We bring up the lawyer. They were able to squash that debt and get it taken off our credit reports in 13 days. And I had one more day before I had to go unconditional. Now, that was the power of support from the team around me. What I thought was huge and this big block in my way, and also the little bit of the shame around it and wanting to fix it myself and not share it with anyone else, could have really blocked me from being able to have success on that settlement on that property. But my persistence outweighed the challenges, and the team helped me. And now that property, I bought that back in 2020 for 419,000. That's now sitting at 690,000. So I'm so glad that I got out of my own way. And that's part of the persistence. Sometimes you've got to find ways to get out of your own way, especially when it comes to your emotions. We love emotions. It's important to acknowledge how you're feeling when you're buying or when challenges arise, but we also have to learn to regulate it, and having that patience as well, that there are steps that are going to help you achieve to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
I like step 3, adapt into the market, because this is a big one, because the market is always changing. And we as an investor, a saying that I like to share with my members is, we've got to be like water. You've got to flow with water, because the market is constantly changing. And if you're stuck in a rigid old strategy or an old way of doing things, you're going to miss the opportunities that arise that are coming up in the current present. So please be more open and adapting. And we will do everything that we can on our side to help you to feel that comfortability and that confidence within the change. Because change is something that you're going to find a lot in property investing. Interest rates are changing up and down. Property prices are changing. There's a lot of change that happens. So just be fluid like water, take a breath, and just know that we are here to support you, and we're going to get you through the changes with ease and grace as best we can.
And that ties into step 2 as well, like just maintaining that long-term vision as well. Like, being flexible and adaptable, but also maintaining the long-term vision.
I love it. I love it. It all threads back into the other. And having a flexible mindset really does allow you to navigate the market changes and seize opportunities. It's very, very important. And as we can see, we've got a little wheel here on the importance of mindset. And this really just helps you to get a bit more in depth. So we've gone the big picture. Now we're going to go inward a little bit, because when it comes to importance of mindset, you can see here it's around how you actually view the world, and also how you view your inner world as well. It's like the both. It drives into how you're perceiving others, how you see your role in the world. It influences your choices, it influences your habits, which ultimately impacts your results and determines your happiness and fulfillment. So it's really important that you really understand how your mindset plays into this wheel, and which wheel you're actually in at any given moment when you're about to make that really important decision. Anyone want to add to that? Any comments or anything that anyone wants to share before we move on to our next slide?
John was just saying your actual behavior determines your reality. Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
I think the actual hello, girls,
Hi.
Charmaine, Michelle, and everyone.
Hi.
I think how you see yourself, you see your role in the world, I think is a big one, because some of us are working, and then you're trying to get into that sort of passive, so you still got that connection to the work sort of mindset, but you've got to sort of bring it in. Well, that's how I'm feeling at the moment. I'm sort of working flat out, but not putting the time into what I'm doing here. So it's a bit of a challenge at the moment.
Right.
Yeah, and mindset, just always having that positive mindset. Like, what are my choices? Like, what is the highest ideal in this scenario? And asking those questions to yourself. You'd be surprised that you might be in the kitchen cooking or doing something. All of a sudden, boom, there comes the answer. So sometimes the answer doesn't come straight away, but if you're always focus on your mindset of looking for those solutions and resolutions, they will come. And sometimes at the most interesting times, like I get a lot of my downloads in the car driving, and be like, boom, boom, boom. And they're going to pull over and write them all down. Like, that's gold. I don't want to forget this. And write it down. I just need like some little space person to capture all my awesome thoughts when I'm in the car, so that I don't have to pull over all the time.
Yeah.
So I love this. This is really inspired by Michelle. Like, should property investing be an Olympic sport? And really, we are in a bit of a sport here. We're in the sport of creating wealth. We're in the sport of building a successful portfolio. We're also in the sport of actually helping Australians have somewhere to live. Like, that's the bigger picture. We know we've got a housing crisis, and every property that we purchase as investors is helping to solve that problem. So, Michelle, tell us a bit about this. This is pretty exciting. This is inspired by you. So, tell us the thoughts behind this.
Well, because we just had the Olympics, obviously, but I thought I'd just tie it in. But the research behind some research behind not just Olympians, but the Olympians that actually win gold medals. So they've found in their research quite a big difference between the ones that actually win the gold or not. So these were just things, the psychology of champions. So these were the traits, I guess, that the research showed that these people had. And I thought it tied really well into kind of what we do as well. Similar things like being coachable and open to learning. So, these athletes have people telling them what to do, how to get better, how to improve, and they listen and they learn. Obviously, managing nerves or fear, I guess, comes up a lot in property investing, and having that confidence, then having that hopeful and optimistic mindset was a key thing to having that grit, which is that persistence and ongoing, desire and drive to keep moving towards those long-term goals. Having resilience, so viewing decisions as active choices. So even if something doesn't go the way you want it to, then just actively choosing to be resilient and move forward, keep moving forward. Game intelligence and blocking out distractions. So being fully focused on the goal at hand and then blocking out any other distractions. Having challenging and realistic goals. So setting yourself, you can see Noah Lyles there, he was the 200-meter champion. He could have just stayed in his own lane and kept being that 200-meter champion, but he challenged himself to also compete in the 100-meter event, which is a slightly different set of skills, but then, was able to win both events and become the fastest man in the world. And then having those high standards and work ethic. I mean, you can see, Simone Biles, you know, she had that mental block. I mean, these people are training for 4 years for this one, you know, these events, one event, two events, and then having to go back to the drawing board and then train for another 4 years to come back and win overall. So win the most decorated gymnast in the world. So yeah, I thought it just tied in nicely.
It does tie in really nicely, Michelle. I love your inspiration here because it just puts it together quite nicely. I mean, one of our members, he's got a what do you call it? One of those what are those things you put on your wall, your
Vision board, like
vision board. And he's got all of his investment properties on his vision board. You know, he's got all the numbers of how much it's going to make, you know, every year and so forth. And that's what he goes to bed every night looking at, and that's what he wakes up every morning looking at. And that really inspires him. I mean, he's got, I think, 4 properties, or nearly 5 properties now. He's been on the program for less than 2 years. That's Michael. But he just loves it. He reckons it what helps him to, you know, to really get out of bed every day and to make sure that he's focused on the big goal at hand. And so having something like that sometimes can really remind you when life gets busy, because it does. Now, we've only got 4 minutes left before we've got to go into our private group with our members. But Michelle, I think maybe rather than the comfort growth zone, we'll go back, hang on. Let's just talk about the comfort zone to the growth zone. So I think we can finish and tie this off quite nicely for our Facebook people.
Yeah. I think, you know, if people haven't seen this diagram before, it's just so logical that, you know, these are the stages that we go through when we are moving out of where we feel safe in our comfort zone, you know, through to the growth zone. We have to go through that fear zone in order to get to the other side. So it's totally normal and natural when we're doing something outside of our comfort. And, you know, in the box there, you can see a place where uncertainty, discomfort, self-doubt, fear can take hold, manifesting as fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of judgment. And that's totally normal for people to be feeling, you know, particularly when people first sign up to the program, they don't really know what to expect. And so sometimes, you know, that fear kind of gets hold of them. They can have other people in their ear as well. I've had some people, you know, have family members and things, you know, it's totally natural to feel that way. And then we get into this learning zone, which is, you know, for our program, I guess it's about, you know, doing the education, coming to the Sherps, coming to the 2-day events, learning everything you can, learning as you go, as you invest, as you get that first property, second property, and so on, then you're learning all the time, and then you enter that growth zone. And I guess that's where the magic happens, as you can see from that diagram. Once we get out of our comfort zone, you know, if we just stay there, it's like stagnation, you know, it's safety, it's you, and we're not living an extraordinary life in that place.
I agree. I think one thing George mentions a lot is learn to be comfortable in the uncomfortable. Because if you're uncomfortable, that is letting you know you are about to pivot and you are about to go through some growth and some change. So don't fear it, embrace it. And if you've got a team around you here at Positive Property, if you're feeling uncomfortable, reach out to your accountability coach, reach out to your property coach. Let us know, because we don't know what we don't know unless you let us know, and then we know, and then we can all work together for a solution. So it's really important that you always remember that this program is do it with you. You know, please make sure you book into your coach's calendar if you need some support or assistance to help you move through the comfort, the fear, and the learning, so that we can get you to that growth zone. We've got the Ask Your Coach Anything on a Friday between 12 and 12:30. Like, these are your opportunities to constantly be amongst others that are on the same journey with you and help you move beyond the uncomfortable and into comfortability. We're moving into our private group now. We've just got the message. So have a wonderful Thursday night. Thank you so much for your time. And continue. Sorry, Michelle.
That's all right.